Alright, so this is what we're going to create today. It's a gallery. Basically, you can add images. And you can... So once you click on the image, it should upload and the background should refresh, and you can click on the image to actually see it. Alright, so you can do that as many times as you need. It also has a history where you can see the previous images that you uploaded. If the file is too big, we have a 3 megabyte limit, so it can't go beyond that. Alright, so we can close this off. We should be able to see the laptop there, right? So we can click on our images to see them. So we also have gallery, so you could choose a gallery. You could add the images to a gallery, so we can say choose folder 1 and we can add these first 3 images to the gallery. How do I add them to the gallery? Switch, right? So now when we go to the gallery, we should be able to see those 4 images that we added, and then we could see all. So we could always press view to see the current gallery that we on, or we can switch our gallery by selecting on it and choosing the gallery and saying switch gallery. As you will notice, also we have our little checkbox items, so we can do multiple select. Also we can also right click on an image and decide to delete it, so that image will be deleted, or we can share the image and it will just show a pop-up with the share link. So there's a lot we could do, so let's get into actually coding it. Alright, so we have our template set up. We have our project called gallery. We created a file called app, which is where our main stuff is going to be in. So let's do some coding now. So we're going to give this a title. So it's going to be gallery manager or something like that. Gallery manager. We're going to give it a title called gallery manager. Alright, so and then we're going to add a link called add images, and we're probably going to put a href on this, but we have nothing as yet. So let's just put this as JavaScript for it, because we're going to use this with Jquery. Alright, so once our site, this is our site here, so we have the development site up, and what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on a request, the request file. So we're going to create a file called gallery requests. This is going to handle all our requests. So we're going to focus on saving the files to our database and also uploading the files. So we know we have our get connection, and what we need to do now is we need to focus on what happens when we upload a file. So I'm just going to write the code here. We say if action is equal to upload. Alright, so that's the get action. Now we're going to confirm that the request is a post. If request method is equal to post. Alright, so once it's a post, we can then begin uploading our file. We need a directory, so we're going to create a variable called upload dir, which is going to hold our reference to the directory that we're going to be uploading our files to. So we actually don't have this created as yet, so we should do that now. We're just going to create a directory here, create a new folder called uploads. So this is going to save all our files that we want to upload. Alright, now we do something. Say if I set files file, so the name of the file that we're gonna be submitting is gonna be called file. So I'm making sure we have no errors. Alright, and then we could proceed. This should just be files. Alright, so the name will be file in that section. Alright, so we're gonna get some of the things we usually need. We usually don't use them, but you do them anyway, and you can use them if you want to further the application. So you get the file name, you get the file type, you get the file size. I don't use any of these. I think I just use the file name. Totally up to you what you want to do with these, but you know how to get them. Alright, and now we have something that we usually do call a random name function, and that just allows us to get a randomized name. So I'm just going to copy that across because we have used the same function a lot of times. Alright, so right now we're going to create a random name, and that random name is going to be, we call any function that we just copied across, get random name, and we want, so that's the extension dot, and then we want, using path info, we're going to get the extension, only the extension. We only want to return the extension. Right, so now we have a random name, and we can do a basic check to see if file exists already. So random name, if it exists, we can echo error, else we can continue. So we call the function move uploaded file, which I probably should do a short video on. File and the temporary name. And then we pass in the upload directory. Well, we pass in the actual file name, so that is the upload directory. We should just give this one name. Call it maybe final file, which we are going to do, full path. Right, so full path is the upload directory plus the random name. Alright, so we can use full path instead, so we just have one variable doing all of it, so you don't have to concatenate these two things together over and over again. Right, so full path, and then we have a function called save to gallery, and then we can echo your file was uploaded successfully. Alright, now the function save to gallery, we're going to create that now. Right, function save to gallery, so it's a basic function. Some background noise. So what we need in save to gallery is the file name and the original name. The original name is cool because usually you want an idea of the file that you uploaded. So although we're giving it a new name, we want to know what it was originally named, right? And that's just great for reference. The user would feel comfortable, have an idea of the original name of the file, so that, I don't know, instead of having just a random name, which could be confusing. Alright, so when you display the file name, we could display the original name of the file, but in the background we'll be using our random name as a reference. or something like that. Alright, so you know the SQL. It's a basic insert into gallery, file name and title. Seems to have an error there. No. Alright, then we just run the query. Prepare, connection prepare, pass in the SQL statement, and then we execute. And we have to pass in the file name and the original name. Alright, so that is what save to gallery looks like, and we would be saving to gallery here after we move it. So we save to gallery, and the file name is called random name, and the original file name is called file name. Right, so this should work. This should work fine. So what we actually need to do is we need to implement, what are we using? It's something called Dropzone. So to do the file uploads, you're going to use Dropzone, and then you're going to create a pop-up and put Dropzone in it. So I'm going to do those two things now. So Dropzone.js, you can check out the website. It is a pretty cool file upload plugin. So that is what we're going to use. You can see the usage here. It's pretty basic, pretty straightforward, and you have configurations and other stuff that you could do. So again, it's really cool. It doesn't need Jquery according to them. So we are going to download this and add this to our application. Of course, first we need to add our pop-up, which is what we usually use as a magnific pop-up. Just a reminder, we use a magnific pop-up, right? We use this for two reasons: to upload the file and actually to view the file. So I'm just going to add those links in as references, so you could always review them when you get the file, right? So we have Dropzone and magnific. So you could always check out those references. Great. So we just need, so we have Jquery here from the CDN, and we are just going to add in our CSS. So this is for magnific and Jquery. We have Jquery below. Alright, and we are now gonna say on click. Alright, document ready. I believe that's correct. And yeah, so you're gonna give our add files to gallery ID, add gallery, or should we say upload files, or add files to gallery. To gallery, it's a long name. Alright, so that's the ID, and add files to gallery on click. Alright, and this is should be where we call the magnific. I don't know if I pronounced that correct, but this is where we should call the pop-up. Alright, so the code for the pop-up, let's just call it the pop-up. Magnific pop-up, open, and we have our object, passing our object, and return false. That's for the on-click function. And items, we have another object, and type, you're going to say inline. I think we should have a comma between those two, and right, enable escape key. Escape key, I think I have that as false. You could always change that, and then you have a 0 here. No idea what that's for. You could check the documentation. So the source is going to be an ID, and that ID is going to be called what? Add to gallery, gallery modal. Alright, so we need to create this. So it's actually pretty simple to create. We can just add a div, and we can give it the ID that we put there below, add to gallery, and we need to add some classes to it. Class white pop-up block, and that gives us the nice white background, and MFP hides it before we use it. Now we usually don't have this. That is not default any magnific CSS, so we have to add that. So you can copy it across and paste it just like I did. So that's what white pop-up block is, and let's test this now. So this is actually fine. So we want to give it a header, maybe we want to call it add images or upload images. Add images. Maybe you should give it a minimum height. You agree or you disagree? We're gonna give it a height of 300 px, and right, and now we're gonna add drop zone. Just gonna confirm that works, and then you're gonna add drop zone. So to add drop zone is pretty simple. We can just say form action, and the action is going to be gallery requests, and the action is going to be upload. Right, so remember here we have the action that's been upload, so we call in the gallery request PHP file, and then we given it a get parameter. We attaching a parameter called action with the value upload. So that's how we know about that. The class is going to be drop zone. I actually think I'm doing this wrong because I have to do something else, but for now we're going to look at this and see. Alright, so this should actually give us what we want. Maybe, oh, we didn't add in drop zone. So you can download drop zone from its website, and all you would need to do is add it in next. So drop zone has a CSS, so you can add in the CSS for drop zone, and then you can add in the JS. Alright, so once you do that, you should be good to go. So it's not there, I'm gonna add it in now. So once our files are added, drop zone, we can actually go and test to see how it looks, and you can see, right, so our files are added, and we can upload our pictures if we wanted to. No guarantee if let's test to see if it would work, right? So it might actually work. We need to check our uploads folder, and yes, so this works as it should. So we know that we can add images, and most likely it's been added to the database as well, even though our database should have a lot of files in it. Let's see if the file name is the same. So NBE4QB JPEG. So this is the last uploaded file, right? So it is being added to the database, which I need to clear, but for now we just know that it's working. And so let's clear the database now. Actually, I didn't show you how to create that table, so I'm just going to do that now. We're going to send this to the SQL editor, whatever. So to create a table, we see, let's remove this. To create table gallery, ID, file name, title, folder, primary key is ID. You don't need to have an auto increment there, right? Yeah, I'll copy this across, right? I usually don't do this, but it's a good idea. New file. What's the name? Migrations. SQL. That's good. So you probably should say create the table. Oh, that's not good. Right. And add that, right? So that's how we create the table. So we're gonna clear it. We're gonna run truncate. Yeah. That's unfortunate, because now we have to we need to delete uploads folder. That's fine. Alright, so minimizing this, let's add another image. So we still have history there. Let's just refresh the page, and we're gonna add an image. We're gonna add, what can we add? Let's add this laptop here. So you're gonna add 2 images, right? Or 3 or 4. Because the next thing we're gonna do is we have to be able to display the images on our page. So we have to get the images and display them. So let's add a few images. Well, once they've been added to the database, we should be fine. See a lot of things happening here. We'll rectify all of that shortly. So we're adding a few pictures. Right, so let's check our database. We can see the pictures were added, and now what we need to do is display them. So in our gallery request file, we're going to create a function called getMedia, and that function is going to allow us to get all the media that we need. So we're going to do that here, and it is as you expect. We have our results array. Have a little try catch, even though we don't use it as much as we should. Connection equal to get connection, and yeah, so let's just get everything. Query is select star from gallery, and we're going to return results. Alright, so that allows us to get all the media, and now we need to worry. That's not the correct term, but we need to take action. So we're doing this from Ajax, right? Or we're gonna call it, yeah, we're gonna call it using Ajax. So get files, and we now need to format this accordingly. So what we're going to do is we're going to say this is O stands for output, and how do we want to display them? We could just display them as an image. So we can say O, well, let's get media first. So we say we get all the media files. Remember, we just created a function called get media. You get all the media files, and then we just loop through them as media. One of the files as files. Yeah, that should be fine. And yeah. So, and then we just echo the output. One thing I want to do, just to make my life easier, is we're going to create a function called base URL. Now there are many ways to do this, but because my URL is static, I should be able to do that. Yeah, that should work. Alright, so let's create the image URL. So from the database, we know that the file name is this, so we are going to get the file name. So let's say base URL. We know the actual path is uploads, the uploads folder, and then the actual file name would be, I should name that file. The actual file name would be whatever we have it as in the database, which is called file name. Alright, so this is great. So this is the image URL, and now we want to, so you want to add to our output, and everything we're going to do is just going to be an image, right? So we're going to have the source as being image URL, and now we want also the title, which is the name of, could we do that? Could we do either of these things? Alright, so I'm not sure about that, so I'm gonna keep it simple. Alright, so the title is going to be the original name of the file, which we named in the database as title, and maybe we put a page break at the end. Alright, so that is our get files logic here, so that all we need to worry about is where we're going to put that. So if you look here, we could put it. We have a form here. No, that's not that. So we can have a div, and we can call this div files, I guess. Yeah, files gallery. We can call the div gallery, and basically all we're doing is creating a function called get files or get images, and this function is going to do a get request to our gallery requests file, passing in the correct action, which is equal to get files. What is going to return, the response is going to be HTML, so we could actually just append to the gallery div whatever. We could empty it in case we want to call this function multiple times, and append to the div. Alright, and at the end of a document get ready, we just call get images. So let's just see if this works. If it doesn't, we can make changes. Alright, so it works. It's our images are too big, so let's work on that. We can add a style, style. Could say width is equal to height is equal to 150 px, width is equal to 150 px. Alright, we just reload the page. Alright, so we get in all our images. So what we need to do now is, if you remember our original layout, this is what we're going for. So we need to create a layout like this. So this is what we're going to do now. Now that we can get the images, we want to actually create a layout like this. So let's do that now. So keeping what we want in mind, let's begin. We no longer calling our get images. We are just going to create some samples. So let's create a style. Excuse me. Alright, so we're going to give this a class. This class is going to be called gallery block. We're going to style this accordingly. No room for heroes. Width is 160 px. Height 150 px. Position is relative. Margin left, that gives us some spacing. Margin bottom, that gives us some spacing to the bottom. 7 px. Alright, so that's gallery block. And within that, we have gallery image. So this is what's going to store the image. So you're going to give like a class called gallery image, img. Is that correct? Yes. Alright. So to deal with gallery image, we're going to do something called background repeat. We're going to say no repeat, and I'm going to copy the rest. Alright, no CSS here. This works, gives us a nice background color. This is the width and the height. You know what those do. Center images centers the image. Background repeat, I have that twice. I remove it. Background size cover, you could Google that. Border radius 3px, that gives us curved edges, and the border is 3px as well. To note that our background is actually black. in the image that we have here, which I closed. So I'm just going to do that now. So the body is going to be black and the color is going to be white smoke. So I'm just going to do that here. And as you can see, our image style, our one image style, kind of shows up how it's supposed to already. So that is good. Looking at what to do next, we should have some spacing. So we have a class here called gallery container. I don't think I did anything with it, so I'm going to look to see if I have anything for gallery container. We just say display inline block, so let's just put that in. But as we do that for gallery block, so this is display inline block. All right, maybe we could give it some margin on top. Margin top 5px. All right, so once we do that, we should have some space in there. So the image is actually supposed to be here. Let's create two. So this is where the images is going, right? Tree. So let's reload the page. All right, so these are our images, kind of placeholders. Now let's get an image. So we know uploads, and we know actually what we have to do is you have to do something called background image, if I am correct. Yes, style background image, and then we pass in the URL, which could be, it would be this. It would be uploads, and then it would be a name of a file. So let's just copy a name of a file. Say rename. Just copy the name. Alright, so I don't know if this will work. Let's test it and see. It doesn't work. That's fine. It's totally fine. Alright, so that should work. Alright, so we have our image showing officially, and this is great. So if you haven't figured it out as yet, this is what we're gonna build now. So remember, we build our HTML. We are gonna take that to a whole new level now. So we're gonna build out our little divs. So gallery block is the first one. Next one is where we have the image, which is fine. So we save it. We do that. Except we need to know the actual image. Also, we probably could put two brackets here. Maybe. Or maybe like this. I'm not sure. Alright, but the image URL goes inside there. So let's put this on top. And then we just have to close it off. Or we close up the two. So you don't need this anymore. So we're just closing these two off. They could be next to each other. That should do it. I'm not too sure what to do here, so we're just gonna do a trial and error, and let's do it like this, and pass in the image URL. So we're gonna see if this works at all. We want to remove these, and we want to call back our function. So it works, but it doesn't give us the URL, which means there's a problem here. I'm not sure how to solve that problem. If we were to remove these brackets, it might work, but it might give us errors in the future. I'm not sure it should be like that. Inspection. I really think this gives problems eventually. I think it should always have a quote around it. So looking back at my sample, I think I escaped it. So I'm going to try to do that now. Yeah, I think I escaped it. I did something like this. Nope. What did I do? Alright. Stay with me. You close it off at the end. Yeah. Which means we can now do the double brackets. This should give us what we want. Alright, so we're testing and seeing. So, yes. This is what we want. Just in case problems comes up later on. Alright, so we're halfway there. We can upload files and have them displayed. So you can upload another file if you wanted to. Let's see, we add the lock if it's not too big. So it won't show now, we just have to reload the page to see it. And as you can see, this is the lock here, so it shows below. So we halfway there with our gallery. We can add more images if we wanted to. So we're going to make some changes to Dropzone, which I am a fan of. I'm going to copy most of it across, but I'm also going to explain it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a null object called my Dropzone. That's just going to hold a reference to see if it exists. I don't think I do this 100% correct. Anyway, at the end, what we can do is we can do this little special thing here. So let's explain. So this is my Dropzone. That's the object we created up here. So, and we're doing it outside of our get ready function, right? So we want that to be called as soon as possible. So the default message you see when you open up the Dropzone file area. So the default message would be, is there an example? The default message would be this thing here, right? So that is what we are attempting to change here. It's something I usually use. You can copy it across, you'll see how it looks. The maximum upload size is 3 megabytes. It just tells you a message there. Alright, but in here, the max fast property, make sure you can't upload a file with a maximum file size greater than 3 megabytes. So we have that there. And when the files are complete, we can call a function. So the function we're going to call is getImages. So that would reload our page, because that's after all the files are complete and there are no more queue files, right? So this is what's going on here. Once we add this, also you have the accepted files. So you could add some more to this list. You could add PDF images as well if you want. Right now, only images would be able to be uploaded, and you probably could specify a specific type of images you want to upload in. So it's really cool. You can go to the website to get more information, but for now, let's just see what we can see there. So this is how our new message looks like. WordPress has changed a lot, but this is how WordPress used to look, or at least to some extent. So I'm a fan of it. So you can press select files, and you can, let's upload the ocean. And what should happen is it actually should refresh any background so that you don't have to do anything, which it doesn't do. So let's look into that. So this error is probably because I am using the file and the JavaScript, but this error is what you're looking at. Get images not defined, and that's because I have my get images function within our document ready, which I should not do. So I could define my function any way I like outside of that, and now I can reload the page and I can add some more images. I think this is just a right, and it should actually reload the page for me, and we should be able to see it right there. So when you click on an image using Magnific, it has this really nice pop-up. So that's what we that's the effect we're going for here. So that's what we're going to do now. To do it, we need to get the URL. So we're going back to our get files function, and in gallery block, let's just add a data URL feature there. And we probably, no, we can't do that. Let's just add image URL. Alright, so in our gallery block, we have access to that, to our URL, and now we can see on gallery, right? Gallery container, gallery. So on click, but we want to specify the gallery block, right? So we actually get in gallery block. And we want to get URL. So we say URL this attribute. Return false. And then we're going to call the Magnific pop-up and pass it to the URL. Source is the URL. Alright, so let's just it's a lot of copy and paste. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it works. So we're just gonna confirm that. So basically, gallery is a parent, and we say on the gallery block, which is what we actually do in here. Once we click, and we remember we pass in the data URL there. So this is references this gallery block. We could just call attribute data URL to get the current URL. Then we call Magnific pop-up function, and we set the source to the URL, and the rest is history. So the only thing I would change is maybe the cursor. I don't know if I did that before. I want the cursor to be gallery block, to be a pointer, if that is correct. So I want you to be able to know that you can click on it by changing it to a point, to a finger hand pointer kind of thing. So right, so you can click on it and you can see the image. So this is great. The only other thing we need to worry about is, remember, well actually no, because we do it like this, it doesn't matter if we refresh the page, right? Because it's attached to the parent, so it would immediately, I don't know if propagate is the correct word, but it would propagate to the child element. So we don't need to worry about once we refresh the page, we lose the click events. So this works fine. So there's our unhover effect that we're going to implement here. It's just purely with CSS. And I think I just need to copy it across. So gallery block unhover, putting it on top instead. So unhover, and it should give us a nice little background. That's basically it. That's all it does. Hey, look at that, right? So as we go across the images, we can see a little background. So that's what that does. I guess this is the most important part. Alright, so we have a little unhover. So what we want to do next is let me see. So let's add our input. Yeah, let's add our input. Our input is going to be used to shift the gallery from to different folders. So we're just going to add a very simple input. Alright. Let's say input. The type is going to be a checkbox. The name is going to be GID. GID. It's going to be an array though. The value is going to be the ID of our gallery image. What else do we need? That's it. Alright, so let's see how this looks. So you have a checkbox here. So now I think I did some formatting to the input to fix that. So probably could specify it as a checkbox, but our CSS is pretty simple. We doing it on gallery block, so we're looking for gallery block. We're going to say input, text align is left, position is absolute, top is 1px, z index is 1000. So let's see if that makes any difference, right? So two things you notice now. When we click on the image, we can't select the input, and that is because it is not propagating to the input because we have this unclick here. So in order to fix that, we need to allow it to continue. So we say on the event, we get the target, and we say event target, right? And we say if target is, and we say if it's the class name, so you want to know exactly what is being selected. Alright. And we only call in these functions if that's the case. Right? So doing it like this, it means that if it's not the gallery block, the click event should continue and it should allow us to select the input. So we're just going to test that. So now we can click on the image and we're supposed to be able to click on the input as well, because we only use any pop-up and returning false if we are selected on gallery block itself. And there is a separation between the two. If you notice at our output, well, gallery block is inside. Either way, it works. Is that how I had it before? Yeah. So it works. It works. Yeah. I mean, when you click on here, you shouldn't get that class, right? So it works as expected. Alright, so now that we can select our elements, we can now work on creating a gallery. A specific gallery, because right now we're just viewing everything. We want to create specific galleries. Alright, so just how we saw it here, that's what we're going to do. So we have a new gallery, we could save it, and then we can view our gallery. So let's let's make that happen. In the gallery, in the index.php, this is the modal, this is the gallery view. So on top here, we're gonna add some unbreaking space. We're gonna add like 2 of those, and then I can't remember. All right, so we're gonna say add new gallery, and then we should have an input there. The type of this is going to be text, and then we should probably want to have a save gallery button. Yeah, and the button is going to be called save gallery, or maybe just save should be fine. All right, so the type of this is irrelevant. Give it an ID, save gallery. Oh, save gallery. Alright, let's see how that looks. Yeah, so this is good. So we could type in our gallery here and we can press save. So let's go to the SQL in our gallery folder. I'm just going to truncate it. Don't know. Alright, so in our gallery folder we have ID and name, so let's just send this to create statement. So in our migrations, when you create a new table, you can create a gallery table. Alright, so you can do it like this. I always do that. Alright, so you don't need this. Alright, great. So we just have an ID and a name, and that's how we create any folders. We call it gallery folders because that's what we're going to be using to manage our content. So yeah, that's it. So we need to get an onClick event for that. So we're going to say save gallery, and we're going to give our ID to the input as well. So we're not going to use a form here. Alright, so we're not going to use a form here. Let's just give an ID to this as well. Let's call it gallery name, I guess. That should be fine. So we can get the gallery name. Gname is equal to gallery name. And we probably could do something like, if it's not null, this is just basic validation. So if it exists, we can post. So what we're gonna do is, should we do like a post request? I guess it doesn't matter, right? So gallery request PHP action save gallery. Alright, so I'm not really, well, I'll just respond if it's good. So if res is equal to good, we know that was successful. I'm not going to do anything with it. Alright, so now we need to add something here. So we can say if get action. We know the action is supposed to be save gallery, and we can just make sure that it's a post request. Alright, and what we want to get is the name. Do I have that here? No. So that's fine. So the Gname, we call it gallery. Alright, so if we have a gallery name, we save it, right? And that means here we need to actually pass in the gallery name. So you're going to pass in gallery. So that's what we're going to receive it as, but Gname is where we have it here. That's the variable here. Gname gallery is where we're gonna access it. We're gonna access it as gallery here, right? But then we're gonna name it back Gname. Right. So if gallery name exists, we can now save to our gallery folder. So let's look at that. Is that what we have to do? Yeah. So save gallery folder, right? So we're going to create a function called save gallery folder. Alright, so that should allow us to save to the folder. So we could just call our function here. Nope, save gallery folder Gname. Alright, so that allows us to save stuff to the gallery. Something we didn't pay attention if it's good, or we just echo good, right? So if it's good, what we want to do also is we want to empty the gallery name. So we want to set back the value to empty, right? So we could try that now. We're going to name our folders generically: gallery 1, gallery 2, gallery 1. Alright, let's check the database. This is great. Alright, so we have our galleries being uploaded. So next we need to display the galleries. So we have a little select element here that shows all our galleries. So we want to generate that, and then we'll be able to either view or switch gallery. So let's do that now. So creating a function called get folders. Function get folders, and that gives us all the galleries that we would be creating. So it's basic, and we just need to change the SQL from gallery to gallery folders. Alright, but now we need to manage when we actually doing the request. So the request is going to be called get folders, which makes sense, and it's just going to be a get request. So we are just gonna get the folders. We're gonna generate the element dynamically. So this select element, we are gonna create it. Dynamically, because we want to be able to update it at will, right? So we can now get our folders. So we could say for each get folders as folder, and then we add to the output variable the folders. Then we close it off. And then we just echo the output, right? So let's create a function similar to get images. And this function is going to be called get, what should we call it? Get gallery. Get folders. That seems appropriate. So I'm just going to copy this from on top. We're going to change it to what it needs to be. Maybe get folders. Alright, and I believe we're creating the whole select element. Does this need an ID? Alright, so some space. And we're just going to append this with whatever we have there. So that's get folders. So we want a function called int, short for initialize. And then it's going to call get images and get folders. Presuming that works. And at the end of our document get ready, we're gonna call get int. So that should call that's that. I have that wrong, or just int. Right, so that should initialize our gallery with everything we need. We have an error, which is fine. Most likely made a mistake somewhere along the road. Let's just review what we did. So this is good, I guess. Because we have it in a div, it is sending us to a new line. We do not want that, so we're just going to say style input display inline block, so it stays on the same line. We're going to check back with the picture. Yeah, so let's galleries, and what we want now is a button. I believe that button says view, and then we have another button called switch gallery. So we're just going to add that in one time. Alright, so let's see how everything looks. Alright, so this is good. The fact that it doesn't show up immediately, I'm not happy with that. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a select. This is kind of like a placeholder because it's going to be appended after. Alright. Select. So it doesn't look crazy at all. Maybe we could put it as all, so it really doesn't look crazy. You don't see any big difference, right, when we update it. I mean, you could do it that way. It's totally up to you. Yeah, that's fine. So you have two galleries, all on gallery 1. Once we set a new gallery, we need to update get folders. So save gallery. You set this to val and get folders. Alright. So we can, so what we could do now is we could create more galleries. Like close this. So let's say gallery 2. If you save it, it should clear, and then we should update, and then we say gallery 3. Alright, and we press save. So we should have it there. So there's just the view gallery function. When we click on this, we want to be able to view these specific galleries, and then we only click on this, we want to switch galleries. We want to switch the pictures to different galleries. So let's work on that. So we want to action on view and switch gallery. So we're going to do that now. We're going to give IDs to both of them. So view gallery is going to be called exactly that, view gallery. And switch gallery is going to be called that as well, switch gallery. And now we're just going to put listeners on both of them. So view gallery and switch gallery. Alright, so now that we have listeners on both of them, we need to work on the functionality. So on view gallery, we want to call the get folders function, sorry, the get images function. But the difference is we want to know which gallery is being selected, which gallery is active, which is fine. We can call the we can call the get selected to get the name of the current folder. Alright, so I'm just going to show you that. So view gallery, we're going to call this current gallery, and we're just going to say folders list file. So let's just output this to the console so that whenever you click on it, we should be able to see the current gallery. So we just need to show the console as well. So go here, reload the page, and ignoring this, once you click view gallery, you should see nothing. Alright, so gallery 1, gallery 2, gallery 3. Alright, so we can now get the current gallery, and what we just have to do is call what are we calling? Calling the get images function, and we're passing in the current gallery. Alright, I don't think I want to do that. Do I want to do that? So right now I'm not sure I want to do it like this. Alright, so we're gonna try it like this. We're gonna see if that works. Alright, so on view gallery, you get the current gallery. We're just gonna try to see if that works, right? So the function called get images, I believe. What is it called? Get images, get files. Get files, right? So what we want to do now is it's going to be a get request. So we're going to say CG, stands for current gallery. Let's spell it out. So we want to get the current gallery. We just pass that in. We go to media and we say gallery. But we could take it now. So we say if this is null, if gallery exists, fine. But if it doesn't exist, we do something different. Alright, so gallery exists. We are going to prepare from gallery where so if you notice our galleries, we have a folder function, folder column, right? So we're folder, right? So this is actually going to be a prepare. This is going to be query, and then the query is going to be executed. We're going to pass in the gallery, which is the correct way, and then we're going to say results is equal to query fetch all. Alright, otherwise we just get all. Alright, so we're going to try this. Right now it shouldn't work at all. So what we want to see is the network. I want to make sure that that the network works as expected, which is great. What we send in gallery 1 preview, nothing. All right, this is great. So it is working as expected. To confirm that, what we could do is set a gallery to, I don't know, let's say gallery 1. So let's set the first picture to gallery 1 and apply that. And now we can check to see if it really works. No need to reload the page, but I did it anyway. So gallery 1, right? Yeah, so it works as expected. So what we want to do is we want to now select the images, and we want to say switch gallery. And switch gallery, what switch gallery is going to do is going to send these pictures that we selected to whichever gallery we choose here. So we can have a multi-functionality going on here. So we can click on a gallery and press view to view them, or we can click on a gallery and press switch gallery to switch it to that current gallery. So let's do that now. Now to do that, we need to get the IDs of all the selected gallery images. Alright, but that's not a problem because we worked on that before. So to get the current gallery, you could do this. Current gallery, you can remove this console, you no longer need this from on top there. Alright, and then what we're going to do now is get all these selected elements. I'm going to copy this across. So what we have here, we're going to say for each of the inputs with GID. Remember, we have this here. GID, where's that? GID, right? So for all of the inputs with GID and which are checked, we want to get their values and we're going to add them to the array. Yeah, that's what we're going to do there. So that's what we're doing here. So at the end of this, we should have elements in the val array. Then we say if val.length is equal to 0, that means nothing is selected and we have a problem. So we say, hey, alert, please note, please select at least one record. All right, so that is if nothing is selected, else we could continue. And we're going to say val IDs is equal to val join. What that's supposed to do is split that array into a comma delimited string, and we can see the effect when we log it. So let's do that first, and then we're going to refresh our page. All right, so if you say switch gallery, you should get an alert, please select at least one record, because nothing is selected. However, if we do select images, we should be able to see the IDs of those images coming out there, 3, 4, and 5, which is great. We could add more, 3, 4, 5, and 9. We could take it out, 4, 5, 9. All right, so that is exactly what we want to do. And now all we're going to do is pass these values to a post, to to the server, and the server is going to take care of the rest, right? So the server is going to be gallery requests.php. Action is going to be switch gallery, and we want to pass in those IDs. I'm going to call the IDs, and the gallery is going to be called current gallery, right? So, and the function should be good. Alright, so let's bring these down. Right, so if res is good, we know that we succeeded. Alright, so we need to create this action in the server, and then once we are good to go, we could refresh the page, I guess. No reason not to. Make it just refresh the page. But we would want to refresh it on the current gallery. No. We just refresh the page for now. So let's create this action. Switch gallery in our server. So we're gonna say if action is equal to that, and then we also want to check for post. We probably could do these two things at the same time. No need to separate them. But we're not trying to be heroes. Alright, so we need to get the IDs. So that's the first thing we need to get. We send them to the server as IDs so we can access them as IDs. Otherwise, we just want it to be an array. Then we want the gallery. I believe we sent it to the server as gallery. So we should receive it as the same. Otherwise, it's null, right? And then we just gonna do a query to our so here's what happened. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do, right? So can't get connection, right? Now in truth, what I should do is an inquiry, but I believe I had problems with that. I don't know what is the problems I had. Oh, first thing we need to do is we need to explode this, right? IDs is equal to explode, which is gonna create our string delimited array. String, why am I saying that wrong? Our string array, or just our string, is gonna be converted back into an array, right? So you're gonna say for each IDs as ID, which is the ID, and then we're just going to delete it. Nope, that is wrong again. We're going to say update gallery set. This is the wrong query. Folder is equal to where ID is equal to ID. So this works. But I'm going to try again to do it the way I wanted to do it, which is basically where ID in, and then we just have a list of stuff, a list of IDs. So this is what I actually want to do. This does not work, so it seems. So query is equal to con. I mean, it should work, right? It's just probably something I'm doing wrong. And query.execute. So you're just going to try it again, because when I was doing it in the test, it was not working. Alright, so update gallery set folder where ID is in. So we could not explode this for now, because we're going to receive all the IDs as a string. So this should work just fine. Set folder, we're doing something wrong, right? In, this has to be IDs. Alright, so let's check the server. Let's see if we can get this to work. If not, we can go back to the old school way we was doing it before with the for loop. Which is not a problem. I could worry about what's causing that error on a later date. So we're going to put all these to gallery 1 and we're going to press switch gallery. Invalid for each. Yeah, that's my bad. So insert. Alright, let's try that again. Ironically, it should have worked, right? I'll just say invalid for... No, it wouldn't have worked at all. Alright. So, we are trying again. We're going to switch to gallery 1. Oh, I think there was a problem with the type of request. I think that problem was yeah, I'm not sure what's causing that problem, but once when we post it like this, we always get that error. So we're gonna do a little troubleshooting here now, just for fun. I want to see what actually is happening there to an extent. So I'm just going to select these, select switch gallery. So it's fine here. Oh, but is that correct? What's going on there? So this is correct. It's sending the right information, but I'm not sure where it's getting lost. Turn it to gallery 2. Get files, switch gallery. Right. Seems to work, right? Seems to work. Maybe I don't attempt to prepare it. So maybe prepare is the problem. So we can just say, of course this would be wrong in terms of this would be wrong. Well, I think something is going wrong with the prepare, and that is making things work not as it should, which is fine. Which is totally fine. We are just gonna and this might be wrong. I forget things. I'm only human. Yes, even if it works, someone want to do it. It does work though, but you could see this is open for SQL injection. Alright, so we had some fun, and now we are done with that. We'd have to find out the correct way to do it. For now, we're going to do it like this. We're going to explode our arrays, we're going to pass through them, and we're going to create our query individually for each one. And confirm this works. We're going to set these to gallery 1. Oh, that's view. Sorry. And view all. That get confusing. Alright, and we're going to set these to gallery 1, right? Switch gallery. Array to string conversion in where? PHP song gallery request line 135. Line 135. Array to string conversion. Alright. Alright, cool. Where ID is equal to, right? Great. Switch gallery. It should refresh, as well as switch the gallery, which is good. Yes, I believe it's working as expected now. I'm just going to close this off. So for gallery 1, we could see we have the laptop, this biology looking kind of thing, a dog, and what are those? Electricity lines. So we're going to go over, and we want to add the lock to gallery 1. So we say switch gallery, and now we can view the gallery. So the lock is added. We can go back to all. Let's add the ocean to gallery 2. So we say switch gallery, and now we can view. So we can see the ocean there. If we wanted to put the dog to gallery 1 instead of where it is currently, we can do that. So we can view gallery 1, and we can see the dog there. Before it was in gallery 2, but it's no longer there. Alright, so now we can switch galleries, and the last and final thing we need to do is to be able to share and delete, and we did that with some right clicks. And in order to do that, we have a context menu plugin that we use, so we're going to do that now. Alright, so you're going to use Jquery context menu. This is pretty simple and straightforward to use. You can check out the website to get a further understanding of it. I'm just going to add it in the comment section at the top of the file, so you can reference that later. Alright, so let's do this. So yeah, we need to add any files, and then we need to call the context menu on our so when we right click here, you want to see a context menu, right? So in order to do that, we're gonna create a function called left click events. All right, so let's do that. Create a function up here, function left click events, and then we can call in context menu. All right, so it's almost similar to this. So I'm just going to copy and paste it across. So we have the context menu, the selected gallery block. So for share, remember we have the data URL, so this is fine, and I have to create this function, delete gallery image. We also need the file name, which we don't have, and the ID. I believe all of this is coming from gallery block, so we need to add those. So let's do that now. So in gallery requests, we need to, so we have the data URL. What we need to do now is add the data at that ID. not sure why we need so much, and then the data file name. So that's for delete. Why do I need the file name? I don't know why I need the file name. That seems redundant. Okay, I think I know why I need the file name, but it is redundant. So I'm just going to do the ID. I'm not going to do it like that before. I did it differently before. So we're just going to take the ID. Definitely do not need the file name. But it is a very shortcut way to get around what I have to do from the server side. Alright, so that gives us the ID, and now we can call the function delete gallery image. So we can create a function here, function delete gallery image, and we can pass in the ID, and we would be deleting the gallery based on the ID that we have there. You don't need to do anything else yet. We're just going to test these to see that it's working. Again, we need to add our context menu, and we also need to add Jquery UI position. Apparently that is also helpful. So we're going to add our CSS. So at the top we add our context menu, and we need to add the Jquery position UI because that apparently helps with context menu, and then we just add in the Jquery context menu main.js. all right, so once we do that, we need to add it here. We're not seeing it there, but I'm going to add that now. So just looking in at the items, we have our items object. We have the name of it should be share, share, and then we have a name. Then we can have an icon. You could also look at the documentation to get more understanding about this, and then delete. The name is delete, the icon is delete. All right, so let's just look at it to see how it works, if it works at all. Actually, it won't work because we are not calling it. So let's call it left click events. So this would be called when we get images. All right, we need to do this, I believe, every time we refresh our gallery. So let's refresh our gallery now, and then we should have a right click. So share and delete. Alright, so I didn't add the font folder, so that's why it wasn't showing properly. But now we have our share, and share should work fine. If we were to go to this URL, we should be able to see exactly how that image looks, this image here, so we can always share our URLs. So let's copy and paste that one there. All right, so the share works, and the only thing we need to now implement is the delete. So let's do that. Delete is pretty straightforward. Is it though? All right, so delete it's going to call delete file, and then we have to check to make sure it's post because it's a post request we're going to do, and what we want to get is the ID. So we get in the ID. Null. Alright, so before we got the file name, but we're not doing that. So now that we have the ID, we need to actually get the file name of the file. So we have to do a query here. We have to select file name. We just need the file name, right? We just want the correct file name. Title. Select title from gallery where ID is equal to this, and then we just need to prepare this, and we need to execute it. We also could do a limit one. So we execute this, we pass in the ID. All right, so yeah, so this is fine. I guess we could do results now. Query fetch all. All right, and we say if results, if let's say if count results is greater than 0, we assume that we get what we wanted, and we can see file name is equal to results 0, and we want the title. So that's the name of the file that we're going to delete. And now we need to create the file path that we're actually going to delete, and we are going to say server document root directory separator uploads. We're going to add another directory separator, and then we just add the file name. So this should give us the full path, the full file path to actually delete, and we can say if file exists. If it exists, we're going to use the function onLink. OnLink will delete the file from the database file path. And then now, once we unlink, we can delete it. So you can say SQL come to delete from gallery, where ID is equal to placeholder query is equal to connection prepare SQL query execute ID, pass in the ID. Remember, we got the ID above, and that should do it. And then we echo good. So there's a lot going on, but it's only a lot because we're doing it manually. So again, we get the ID that we set, and from the post we get the connection. We want to get the title, which is the correct file name. Once we get the correct file name, we say we create a file path which represents the correct file path. I'm using server document root. Once that file exists, we unlink it, which means we delete it. We probably could do this after. It doesn't matter. Maybe it does. We leave it like this. So we unlink the file path, and then we delete from gallery where ID is equal to what we pass in there. So that is the delete file request, and we just need to do that here. So it's going to be post. It's going to be gallery request. That PHP, the action is going to be, excuse me, the action is going to be delete file. The ID is going to be the ID that we passed in, and function is going to be the response, or return response. If res equal to good, we can refresh the page by calling get images. Alright, so that should work fine. Let's actually test it out and see if it works. We're gonna keep it on the all gallery, and we're gonna delete, let's say, delete this little thing here. But first, we're gonna count how many files that we actually do have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we should have about 9. We are gonna get this URL. So we're gonna confirm that it's deleted in multiple ways. We're also gonna look at the console, and we're gonna pay attention to the request that's being generated. Alright, so delete, and in truth we should have a confirmation So I actually don't know what's going on here. Delete file. The file still exists. So I believe it did not work. So let's look back at what we have here. Action, gallery request, delete file. We pass in the ID, data.id. Alright. If count is greater to 0, select title from gallery, where ID is equal to that. We pass in a limit. Yeah, so we seem to be good here. Let's run it again. Delete. So this delete file, the request is post, so that is fine. So select title from gallery. Let's make sure title is correct. Yes, and we say fetch raw. We count the results. If count results is greater than 0, we say results. We want the first title to get the file name. If file name exists, that means server document root directory separator uploads directory separator. So this could be wrong. It is possible. So we are going to do some echoes here, and then we're gonna echo file path, and we're gonna echo access. Alright, so that's from the server side. We just call the request again, and we see what we get. Here, gallery uploads, PHP gallery uploads. Yeah, so if file exists, so we want to see if this file exists. Gallery uploads, but the file itself does look quite correct. So maybe I'm doing that function wrong. If file exists, because exists is not being it doesn't reach here, right? It does not reach there. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Why is it in that? Oh, well, that's the wrong file, I guess. So that's the name of the file. What we actually want is the correct file name. So we did that wrong. So we want file name. So that's actually what we want. We need to make sure that's what we select in here. File name. Alright. So we can remove these pointers, and we should be sure that it should work now. Again, this from the server side, so we could just press delete again, and it should be gone. Fantastic. So we can now delete files from our gallery. We can create new galleries. We can update or send images to galleries. We can click on images to see the image more clearly, and we can share an image, and then finally we can delete an image. There's one more thing I did. So you can do something called delete history. So I had a button here. Once I click on it, let's do it right. It's really simple. So I'm just gonna do it. So underneath here, we just have one link called delete history. I'm gonna give that the ID delete history and give it an on click. Alright. We can do it any way we want to, I guess. Let's put it at the top. Alright, and then return false. And what this does is really simple. all it does is clear the history from the drop zone. Alright, so I'm looking for the function here. Right. So this is it. So remember we created the drop zone object, right? So at the top we have the drop zone object. So first we check to see if that object exists. So we say if the drop zone object exists, then we just call the function remove files, which actually removes the files. How that works then is you're going to refresh the page because this is client side changes. So if you add an image, so let's add an image here, that won't upload, which is fine. We deleting the history, right? So we add in, that's getting annoying, but alright, let's find an image that we didn't use before. Alright, so one image is uploaded and we have a history. So when we go back and add images, we can see we have a history. We can delete the history. So it clears the view and then we can download or start uploading more pictures. So that's what the delete history function does. Yeah. So our gallery is complete. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the other videos. Until next time. Alright, I'm out.